Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to some IPS notes. These should go in your lab notebook, and you are going to label them scientific notation. What is scientific notation? Well, a number in scientific notation is going to have the following appearance. So we are going to have a number between 1 and 10 that is not equal to 10, and we're going to have it multiplied by some power of 10. You may have seen this before in other math classes or in your current math class. So the first thing we're going to look at is taking a number and writing it in scientific notation. So what we're going to do is we are going to add a decimal point to a number to make a number between 1 and 10. Now, the number may already have a decimal point, which means we're going to put a new one in. If it doesn't, we're going to put one in. Then we're going to count how many places it is over from the original and make it the exponent on 10. So we're going to see where that new one is, how far over it is from our original one, or if we didn't have one, how many did we move it over from the end of the number. So then you're going to look at the original number and you're going to remember these two rules. If you have a number, your original number, larger than 1, your exponent is going to be positive. If your original number was less than 1 or a decimal number, you're going to have a negative exponent. This will be the same for negative numbers. So if you have a negative number larger than 1, it's going to be positive. If you have a negative number less than 1 or a decimal, your exponent is going to be negative. So smaller just means a decimal number, or you've made the number smaller than 1. So, for example, we have 630,000. Now we want to make this number a number between 1 and 10. So we are going to put in a decimal point right here. So you can see we moved it from the end and we put it into a number between 1 and 10. So we write 6.3 times 10. Now we're going to count how many places we went over. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And we put that as our exponent. Now, do we keep it positive or negative? That depends. Our original number, our 630,000, well, that's a large number. So it's going to give me this positive exponent. If we look at 0.0009, we need to move the decimal to a number between 1 and 10, and then write your number. So we have 9.0 times 10. We get the exponent from how many places we move it. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we put in our exponent. Well, this time you can see it's negative 5. Well, that's because this original number was a small number, a number less than 1. So the small number gave us the negative exponent. So what if we were going to go the other direction? So this time we're going to move the decimal point, the number of spaces, as the exponent. So all we have to do is look at that number that's next to 10. And then we remember our two rules. If we have a positive exponent, we are going to make the number larger. So remember, positive goes with large. If we make a number larger, we move to the right. If we have a negative exponent, it means we're looking at small numbers, so we're going to make our number smaller. To make something smaller, we move to the left from where it was. So positive exponents and negative exponents tell you how to move your decimal point. And then you're going to find you may need to add zeros in once you start moving because you're going to run out of space in your number. So wherever we need extra space, we're going to add in zeros. That's the nice thing about scientific notation. It takes away all those zeros. So if we look at 1.3 or 1.03 times 10 to the fourth, we write down 103. Our decimal point was here, but we're going to move it 4 places. This is positive, so we're going to make the number larger than 1.03. So to make my number larger, I'm going to move it 1, 2, 3, 4 places. Now I got a new decimal point. This is where we're going to fill in those extra zeros. So this number now becomes 10,300. In the second example, we have 9.75 times 10 to the negative 3. So we're going to write our number. This is where our decimal point was. We have negative, so we need to make our number smaller. So we're going to go in the opposite direction. 1, 2, 3 places. Put in a decimal point. Fill in zeros where needed. So now my number has become 0.00975. Now we don't just go around writing numbers in scientific notation. We actually use them to do math problems. So when you're going to use them in math, we're going to expand each number and write it down. So you're going to go from scientific notation to the number. Then you're going to perform the respective calculation on your calculator and write it down. So you're just going to plug it in. Then you're going to change your answer back into scientific notation. So this is going to go from the number to scientific notation. We want to make sure you can do that. So you must show all your work. Without your work, you're not going to get credit. So for example, we are writing 5.24 times 10 to the negative 6, and we're going to expand it. We get that number. So again, I had a negative exponent. So I used the number that was in scientific notation, and I am going to move it over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 places, and I got my new decimal point, filling in those extra bumps with zeros. Then I do my next number. This time I had a positive exponent, so I'm making the number larger. So I had to take my point that was there and move it over 8 places. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 places. Again, filling in zeros as I go. Plug it into my calculator and it gives me this number. So now I need to make that a number back between 1 and 10. So I put 4.31776 times 10 to the third. So now I move from the original. I put my decimal point there. It was 1, 2, 3 places, which is why I'm positive 3. This was a large number. Again, showing me that this must be positive. Well, that is your introduction to scientific notation. You will have plenty of time to practice this in class. So I hope you guys have a good night. See you tomorrow.